Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And Disney is attempting to put the genie back in the bottle. And no, I'm not talking about Will Smith. They probably love to shove his ass back in the bottle.
Yeah, there's no putting that back in the bottle.
But we're going to talk about the Florida legislation, colloquially known as Don't Say Gay.
But it's actually Bill
HB 1557.
Yes.
Right, because people are like, that's not what it's called. I'm like, no, I don't think they actually have a bill called.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what the media is referring to it as. People that are yelling about it are referring to it as that. So most people, when they hear it, that's what they understand it as. Even if it's not the way it's worded, even if it's wrong, that's what people are used to have being referred to as.
So that being said, Disney, you know, their reaction to this has been really interesting. We had Bob Chapek, Disney CEO Bob Chapek, first saying, hey, Disney's apolitical. We're not really getting involved in this. We're just going to make content that supports the LGBTQ community, and we're going to stay out of politics.
Well, it's not their place to be in politics anyway.
No, but that was Bob Iger. So that didn't go well. So we had all kinds of backlash from the media and Disney employees.
Well, there you have it, the media. Because the people that actually showed up to strike or to walk out, one person in Florida and a bunch of people in California.
Yeah, maybe.
And even then, it wasn't like, you know, a statistically large number of the employees. They also had a bunch of employees send a letter asking the company to stay political. But we can't have that.
We can't have that. So then Disney put out a statement, Bob Chapek put out a statement. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Whoopsie doopsie, you know, on us. And now this has been signed by Governor DeSantis.
Yes.
It's going to happen, I think. But now Disney wants to help repeal it. And I'm like, I don't understand how that works. You are an entertainment company. How are you going to repeal this bill?
The way it sounds is they're going to put a bunch of money into other organizations that are fighting to repeal it. And they said in the court, so I don't know if they're going to send their lawyers on it or what, but the way they're talking, they're going to put money in to fund it. So all the money that they're raising prices on guests and all that shit across the board, and they charge you more and more for, now some of that money is going to be taken and put towards this.
So Disney went from being political, playing both sides, and how they got into this pickle was, Bob Iger had actually donated to the sponsor of this bill,
right,
as Republican.
But they also donated to people who voted against it, which the media keeps forgetting to report.
Right, and then they wouldn't denounce it. They didn't want to be political per Bob Chapek, and then Bob Chapek had to come back and apologize for it. Now they're going to try. Disney is going to try to repeal this bill. So Disney went from being sticking its nose in the politics where it didn't belong to now going all in on politics in the span of like 2 weeks.
Right, and now they're supposed to be somehow controlling legislation in states because people in California are mad about it.
Mickey for president.
Even though it's a thing in Florida. I know, it's just ridiculous. And I think most shareholders and most of the people that work at the parks and most guests would like it if Disney would stay apolitical because, no one wants a company that's going to be super overly political about everything. And it just seems like, because some people scream, here comes Disney, and they're gonna bend the knee to screamers. And I'm not saying that people are right or wrong about which side you're on of the aisle you're on. What I'm saying is, if you're apolitical, then it doesn't make some members feel like they're accepted, other people don't. Doesn't make your guests feel divided. I think companies are best to stay out of politics.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But in this case, Disney has gone from saying, hey, we're going to be apolitical to doubling down on political interference in the span of like 2 weeks. And the problem with that is you're talking about, your base of operations for Walt Disney World being in Florida. Are
you going to shut that all down and move it too like they were demanding?
Yeah, like there were literally people on Twitter that were like, oh my God, you should just move Disney World to like Seattle.
And their list of demands, they said, well, you need to stop all expansion or any projects you're in the middle of in Florida until they do what we want. I'm going to say we want because that's what's going on.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. Disney, they're actually in a worse place now than they were a couple of weeks ago. If they had just said, hey, we're staying out of it, we're going to stop donating money to either side of the aisle and just focus on entertainment.
That's what they tried to do.
And that blew up, and now
no, because the media is not going to allow it.
No, they're not going to allow it. And Disney, which owns a good chunk of the media, by the way. So we'll see how this goes. I don't think this is going to go the way they think it's going to go. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 261,000 subs.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you so much for the support. Almost 262. We do talk a lot about Disney, having worked in and around the company for a number of years, various capacities, and we've been telling you for years, Disney's not the company you think they are. And people saw that firsthand during this, and no, we didn't get any apologies.
Oh, no, we're not going to.
And we're not going to.
But, I just love to, again, there's a bunch of people in California who don't want to move to Florida. Their jobs are being relocated to Florida, and they're trying to leverage this to get to stay in California. So majority of the screaming about this has come from California. It isn't even, who aren't even impacted by it. But yes, Disney put this statement out. Go ahead and read it.
Yeah, this is a statement from the official Walt Disney Company Twitter account. Statement from the Walt Disney Company on signing of Florida legislation. Florida's HB 1557, also known as the Don't Say Gay bill, per the media, and the media is always right, should never have passed and should never have been signed into law. Our goal as a company is for this law to be repealed by the legislature or struck down in the courts, and we remain committed to supporting the national and state organizations working to achieve that.
And that's where your money's going when you visit Disney.
There's all your lightning lane money right there. We are dedicated to standing up for the rights and safety of LGBTQ plus members of the Disney family, as well as the LGBTQ plus community in Florida and across the country. I don't know what to tell you. It's like it's going to be very, very hard to repeal that in Florida. Mm-hmm. Florida's pretty uneven in politics.
I would say PA is very uneven in politics here too, and I lean left, and I can tell you for a fact they're very uneven here.
Well, it goes by where the population centers are, and in Pennsylvania it's basically Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and then a whole lot of nothing in between, and the smaller rural areas get drowned out by Pittsburgh and Philly, And in Florida, though, I mean, they do have Orlando's a little bit more liberal, but for the most part, the state overwhelmingly is conservative. And I don't know if it's going to get shot down.
I don't know either, but I'm just like, it's a very concerning precedent when companies are like, they already do it anyway. They already lobby to get what they want. But we're talking like they have it in their head that if he said something sooner, it would have made no difference. If he had said something sooner, I don't think DeSantis was going to change anything.
No, he flat said. I mean, DeSantis said, he wasn't going to listen to quote unquote woke Disney, and Disney wasn't going to determine the politics in Florida. And it is what it is. So, I mean, he was hell-bent on passing this in the law. It wasn't going to change anything. And it's just like it's so Disney to say, hey, we're going to be apolitical, and then 2 weeks later turn around and be like, no, we're going to triple down on politics.
Yes, it's all over the damn place. And this is inconsistent bullshit that keeps being a problem. I mean, even if they had agreed with it from the beginning and did that, I still would have been like, well, why are we getting so political? But at least they would have been consistent. It's just all over the place. And then it feels like only certain cast members' opinions matter. Because there was another group that sent in a letter about wanting the company to stay apolitical. They weren't saying, hey, we're against anybody who doesn't believe what we do. We're just saying that for people that keep claiming diversity and inclusion, only certain voices are allowed to be heard. Yeah. And I've heard that from people. Like if you lean more conservative, you have to keep your head down, your mouth shut, because if you say anything, even if it's nothing like against someone personally, but it's about like, well, I don't understand why we're putting money in politics. You're a bigot. It's just ridiculous, and this is coming from somebody who leans more liberal. This is stupid.
Yeah, this is. This feels like on some level that there's more going on here, because there have been a lot of attempts to make Bob Chapek look as bad as possible. And the media has done a lot to do that. The Scarlett Johansson situation, obviously the price gouging, which I think everybody can agree is bad.
Yeah, but Iger did it too.
Iger started it. Yeah,
right.
He started the ball.
I'm not saying Chapek is innocent of all things, and I'm not defending him, and I think he's still a doofus. But I think he gets blamed for a lot of things that Iger did.
Yes.
And I don't think that's right.
Well, even in this situation, remember, guys, it was Bob Iger who started donating to the candidate that was the sponsor of the bill. Mm-hmm. That started on his watch in like 2015. Again, because Disney wants to play both sides.
So they can call in favors for like tax breaks and things like that.
Right. And again, Florida being conservative, you want to have Republicans in your back pocket too. Now, at the time, I can guarantee you Bob Iger did not know that this guy was going to sponsor that bill. But these kinds of discussions were not really happening 7 years ago. It's been a more recent thing in terms of what is and what is not acceptable to teach kids in school. So, his contract is up, I believe, the end of 2023,
Yeah,
Chapek's.
2023, yeah.
And I have to wonder if there isn't case building already to be like, this guy is a weak, ineffective leader. He needs to go.
Well, I wonder what the investors are going to say about the fact that they're going to take, that they're going to lean into this and probably send money there and everything else. I wonder what the investors are going to say.
I don't know, because I know Disney does have a lot of conservative investors. I mean, they were angry when they fired Gina Carano because they were like, why did you fire her for saying what she said? But you've got other Disney employees, other people working with the company. They're out there giving their political hot takes. They're just on the other side of the aisle.
And the problem is, the reason that we think Disney should stay apolitical is because when you go, you do this, then you're going to, put people off. And even the people that, you're aligning with, they were already complaining too. Well, that's not enough. Show us the steps. That's not enough.
Yeah,
you can't win.
And it doesn't even stop with this bill. They're basically like, I mean, you look at the demands for the people that organize the protest, and they're like, well, we need to have a separate division of Disney just for entertainment for us, and you have to make sure that, California people aren't uprooted and moved to Florida. And I still think that's a huge part of it.
That's a lot of what this is about.
I think
it's not even about what the bill's about.
No, I think this is basically an opportunity to get Disney to stop moving people to Florida, be like, oh, we feel unsafe, but they were against moving to Florida before, any of this happened. So there's definitely something going on. It feels kind of like Obi-Wan in the Phantom Menace. It feels like there's something elsewhere, elusive. Like there's something else going on here beyond this. I don't see how Disney can. It doesn't matter how much money you give to these organizations. I don't think they're, if this is signed into law, I don't think they're going to be able to overturn it. Mickey's not that magical.
They're going to give the money to people to try to get it returned, let them waste their time. So they could, then, to be fair, what they're going to do, and let's be honest, Disney's going to give them a bunch of money, say they did it.
Yes.
And then move on. It's all as what it is. It's probably lip service anyway, so there's no sense getting mad about it, because they're just going to give them a bunch of money and then be like, okay, there we did. Whoopsie dip. They're handling it. We're moving on now.
Well, from Disney's point of view, they're like, oh, they gave $5 million to organizations that work to protect rights and work against DeSantis or whatever. And they're gonna, that's like the change in the couch cushions.
They're gonna be like, yeah, there we gave them. So here's 5 more. Okay, moving on.
Here's $20. Go buy yourself a sandwich and shut the hell up.
Because it is. I mean, I will say the reason they're yelling again, like, what are you going to do? What are your steps? Because they know, just like we know, there aren't going to be any. They're going to be like, okay, well, we gave them money and now they're going to handle it.
It's kind of like Willy Wonka. No, stop, don't.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Because I know, like, in 2 weeks, people are going to be all up in arms about something else, and they'll forget all about this. Yeah. But it's just this whole, like, really leaning into it thing. And I think the company, as we keep saying, needs to stay apolitical, just because to make it across the board fair. Now, by apolitical, I don't mean you can't have, initiatives to make sure your employees are treated fairly. I'm not saying that. You can't have diversity and inclusion. I'm not saying that, because I think diversity and inclusion organically is fair and should happen. But I'm saying when you're, like, really leaning one way politically strongly over the other, it's going to cause division in the company. It's going to cause division in your investors and division in your guests. It's just better to stay political and stay the hell out of it.
Yeah, I actually...
Which is what he was trying to do.
He was trying to do it, and that wasn't going to work, because, Disney has definitely leaned into far left politics in the last 5 or 6 years.
Well, current year media.
Yeah.
And current year, social media. They were, even if it's a small group of people, the people that showed up bitching about it were a small group of people, statistically speaking, compared to the amount of people they had working there.
Yep.
But they're gonna go, because everybody's making a big deal about it in the media. They're gonna go and do that because the media definitely swings one way over the other, and Disney keeps thinking that because the media says that means everybody thinks that, which is not what it means.
I would like to see Disney be apolitical. I mean, you're allowed, like I said before, people working at different companies are going to have different political beliefs, are going to have different religious beliefs, whatever. But I think you need to be like, look, when we're working for this company, we are creating entertainment for everybody. So yeah, you can get stuff in there here and there, but like, we as a company do not take a political side, and Disney is loudly announcing this is the side that we're on. in Florida with a lot of conservative parents. That's going to be really interesting to see if there's any pushback there.
It's going to be interesting to see, too, what kind of pushback they get from the politicians in Florida who they're trying to tell them what they should and shouldn't do. They're going to pull money from everybody, apparently. They said it was from both sides because it would be really shitty if they just started giving money to one. So they're going to pull from all sides. So those politicians aren't going to be owing them anymore.
You're the biggest target. And that's why this is happening. That's why everybody's expecting Disney to fix everything because, they're the biggest employer in the state and they're one of the biggest media platforms in the world. And people look at them like Mickey's magic. He can fix anything.
Yeah.
We love Mickey as long as Mickey does what we want.
Pretty much. Well, I want to clarify two things really quick because they keep coming up a lot. And I want to say this because I'm so tired of hearing it. One, not everybody who's LGBTQIA is a groomer. Just FYI. I also want to point out the fact that everybody keeps bringing this up, and I have corrected it. Yes, they had 4 Disney employees arrested. Only one of those 4 employees was arrested for child issues, like they were trying to solicit a 14-year-old. Yeah, here again, related to the posing, the detective posing as a 14-year-old girl was related to that. And they said about him working as a lifeguard. And the other 3, and they identified them, were all charged with soliciting a prostitute. That's from the sheriff. They aren't all 4 arrested for child trafficking. I just want to make that clear because people keep repeating this and it's not true. Yeah. And I'm only mentioning it because it seems to be something that's a big misconception that keeps being repeated. And here's the thing, if you keep repeating that and you're not right about it, it makes you look like, I don't have to listen to your opinion because you don't have your facts straight.
So yeah, it's hard to get a straight story out of the media. It really is.
But now Disney, back to the point. So that was a side I wanted to make because I keep seeing people mentioning that, and it's like, but they don't have their facts straight on it. And then the other thing is back to this: Disney is definitely, publicly taking sides now, and they said they're gonna throw their weight behind it. Because apparently they get to repeal laws now. So
yeah, well, again, vote Mickey for president, and then he can make all the laws because that's where we're kind of headed. I mean, it's so weird. We went from Disney staying out of politics to Disney is doubling down on
but only on
politics.
Certain things. I mean, they had no problem filming your alleged re-education concentration camp type situations in China. They had no problem, reducing black actors, their characters on movie posters for China.
Yeah, and how's that working out? Because China doesn't like your movies anymore.
Right.
We're going to wrap this one up. I don't think this is the last we've heard of it. I think it's going to keep coming up, and I think it's going to haunt Bob Chapek on both sides.
I think there's hoping it goes away.
Yeah, well...
It all does, let's be honest. Every time they're in a controversy, Scarlett Johansson, the only time it gets brought up is when something else comes up. Like... it all goes on down the memory hole and everybody forgets about it in like a month anyway because they'll be embroiled in some other stupidity.
Probably. All right, so we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.